Hi, I'm Simon Hartley.
And I'm Helen Martin.
Welcome back to Pep Talks. Helen, we're joined today by Stephen Aitchison. How do you know Stephen?
So I've been following Stephen on the many platforms that he's on. And Stephen is, I hope I get all your accolades right. So he's an author, coach, and online trainer in the personal development and business marketing. So obviously the things that I'm interested in and involved in, Stephen is the master. So Stephen recently wrote a book, actually, and I've been reading quite a lot about it, the belief principle. And I firstly want to thank you for joining us today. And this week is important to us all. As we know, it's Mental Health Awareness Week. So I felt that this was a huge opportunity to get Stephen to talk us through, what he believes that we can do to get out of the other end of this. So, Stephen, I just want to start by asking you, obviously we're in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
So how do you remap your mind to deal with this new normal when you don't really know what that is?
I think that's a brilliant question to start with, Helen. And first of all, thank you for having me on, Helen and Simon. Really appreciate it. So remapping our minds, that's a really good phrase to use when we say remapping our minds, because we've been in such, dare I say it, a rut before all this kind of happened. And I think we were in a rut. We just got comfortable. We're in a comfort zone. And this COVID-19 totally took us out of our comfort zone. We just didn't know what to do. We weren't socialising as much. We weren't going out. And it was kind of horrendous to think about. However, I do believe myself that we're starting to come round to the idea that the new normal, it shouldn't go back. We shouldn't be going back to normal because normal wasn't working before. It was kind of weird. It wasn't a weird time, but just normal wasn't really working before. And we've proven to ourselves that change has actually been good for us, and we can adapt to change very, very quickly. Look how everybody kind of took to lockdown. At first, there was kind of a lot of, it wasn't anger, it was just a lot of kind of trepidation about kind of lockdown. But then we got used to it, we understood why, we got used to it, and kind of most people I'd say adhered to it. So we adapted to change very quickly. So we know we are very resilient. So that's already mapping our minds in a different way. We're starting to believe more of ourselves. We know we're more resilient. We know we're more than capable of change as well and dealing with that change. So I think we're starting to do the process unconsciously. So consciously, we've not really done anything just now, but unconsciously, we've done really, really well during this kind of lockdown, this kind of COVID-19 and everything that's going on with it. After this, it's going to be different again because it's going to be a new kind of normal. And how we adapt to that, I'm sure we're going to do brilliantly with that as well. And again, it just shows how adaptive and how resilient we are as human beings as well. And I think it can only be a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also a huge believer that beliefs are incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And our perception of challenges is often shaped by our belief. It takes me back to that wonderful Jack Sparrow quote from Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, the problem is not the problem, it's your attitude towards the problem.
Exactly, yeah.
And if we encounter things with a belief that we can't get through it, it'll be worse, I wish it was the way it was, I hope nothing changes, all the rest of it, we're going to really encounter that challenge differently, aren't we?
Yeah, totally. I mean, what we do as human beings, what we do when we kind of encounter a belief or when we encounter something, initially we've got a perception of something. So just say we've got a perception, this whole thing that we're going through just now is horrendous, it's a nightmare. What your brain unconsciously does, is looks for evidence to prove that this is a nightmare situation. So it looks at all the kind of news stories, it looks at all the kind of conspiracy theories, it looks at kind of what the American president's kind of talking about and saying, it looks at all these kind of pieces of evidence, and that kind of collates in your mind. And over a period of 30, 60 days, that kind of slowly becomes a belief that this whole thing was an absolute nightmare, and it's a belief. But if you kind of turn it around conversely and say, this is actually quite good. We've shown how we can adapt to change. We've shown how resilient we are as human beings. Your mind unconsciously starts to look for evidence to prove that we're resilient, we're strong, we're confident, we can adapt to change. And again, that's a new type of belief that we now have. And that's over a period of 30 to 60 days. So we're very quick to kind of adapt to beliefs as well and change our beliefs, which is really which is the brilliant thing about being human, that we can actually change a belief system that we have.
Yeah, but I think too, just at the moment, people, and the week that's in it, I want to honor the week that's in it, but I notice you talk about the spotlight effect and how it's getting people down.
Yeah.
So how important is it to surround yourself with positive people? I mean, the media, we're in media overload, as we know, from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So how important is it to take a break from that and surround yourself with the correct media attention, probably, or media information and people?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important, not just during these times, and as you said at the beginning here, and this is kind of Mental Health Week as well, but throughout our lives. If we think about the news, because we read the news, we watch the news, we listen to the news, we're surrounded by the news all the time. And if we believed what we've seen and read in the news, now we do believe the stories, what's kind of we see in the news, but if we're bombarded with that kind of all the time, all day, every day, we start to believe the world is a terrible place. But the kind of news that's been reported is disproportionately biased towards bad news, because bad news sells. So if you think about it, the news that's been reported, it's only a tiny percentage of the kind of all the news out there. And the other kind of percentage, the large 99.9%, is relatively good, but that doesn't sell. Good doesn't sell. So we have to, if you take a break from news altogether for 30 days, you will see a huge difference in your kind of mindset, your positivity, your energy changes because of that as well. The news brings you down. Now, a lot of people say, but we need to know about the news, we need to know what's going on in the world. We don't. Why do we need to know what's going on, kind of the other side of the world? We always get a digest of what's going on in the world from other people, and it's a digest. It's not the kind of bad, gory detail stuff. So I think it's extremely important, because that spotlight effect, when you focus on something like the news all the time, that's what's going to start to manifest in your life as well. That's what's going to start to come out, and you're going to see more and more of it in your life, all the bad news, and you start to filter out all the good stuff that's happening. That's what the spotlight effect is all about.
So if somebody's found themselves in a position where they're almost like encapsulated in a belief that they know isn't serving them,
yeah,
it's not helping their mental health, it's not helping them be positive, maintain their energy, etc., how can they kickstart the process of changing it?
Okay, the first thing to do is to recognize it. So that is, if you recognize something, it's always a good thing. That's the first thing to do. Recognize that this belief system, or this belief that you have, is just not serving you at all. And then you start to look for evidence to the contrary. So if you say to yourself, I don't know, a belief that I am not good enough, if that's a belief that you've got, I'm not good enough in general, you start to counter it with, okay, I am good enough, and you start to look for evidence to kind of prove that. So what happens when you question, so you've got a rock solid belief here. Say this is, I am not good enough, and it's been rock solid for the last 20 years. When you start to question it immediately, because you've focused on it, you start to question it, this kind of turns a wee bit moltenish. And then when you start to look for evidence to prove evidence to the contrary to this belief, you start to kind of, it gets molten even more. And over time, and through repetition, and through something called affirmations as well, which we all do all day, every day, we just don't realize it, this rock solid belief turns molten, and this new belief, I am good enough, kind of plays it, just goes over it, and that becomes a rock solid belief. And that can be done over the space of 30, 60, or 90 days. But the huge thing is we have to become conscious of it. So if I was to ask you, kind of Simon Helen, what beliefs do you hold about yourself just now? It's kind of difficult to answer, because we don't think about our beliefs. We hardly ever think about what personal beliefs we have. So once we become aware of it, then we go, oh shit, this is quite amazing. We can actually change our beliefs.
You have to go back, because again, where they say your belief pattern, your belief system starts when you're young.
Yeah.
Do you have to go back there to change your beliefs, or can you say, well, today and this situation, I want to change my beliefs because the situation we're in now at the moment? Can you do that without going backwards?
100%. And that's what I love about doing this as well, because you do not have to psychoanalyze yourself and say, okay, this happened when I was 6.5 years old. My mother kind of told me this, and this is where it all came. You don't need to do that. You don't need to analyze where it came from. You just need to know where you are just now. And then when you know where you are just now, then you can start to move forward. As long as you know where you want to go in the future, then you can adapt, and then you can change the beliefs to accommodate what you want to achieve in your future. And that's how we find out about beliefs as well. When we've got a goal, so I want to write a book, for example. I didn't believe I could write a book. I'd written blog posts, but I didn't really believe I could write a book. So I set a goal to write a book and then asked myself, okay, what beliefs would I need to have in order to write a book? So I wrote down all the beliefs I need to have and I worked on each belief and I've wrote a book now. And it sounds really easy to do, but it is relatively easy, but most people won't put in the work. But once you do it in only 15 minutes per day, you can change your beliefs and you can totally 100% change your life as well.
One of the little workshops that I've delivered a few times now, I call Beyond Mindset. It's about character and identity and how you develop character and identity. Yeah. And one of the really simple exercises I use is to write out a sort of a 4-square grid. I am, I'm not, I can, I can't.
Yes.
Just to capture it. And actually just almost to prove the point, I wrote down I can't sing in public in my I can't box. And at the end of the 2-day workshop that we had, I actually sang in public just to say, look, you know, it was there, but forget it. It wasn't good, don't get me wrong. I mean, it wasn't in tune or anything, but I did sing in public. Because most people, if they write something like that, I can't sing or I can't sing in public, what they mean is I don't think I can sing as well as I want to.
Yeah.
I'd be happy for anyone else to listen to it, but it doesn't mean I can't sing, because you can, just not in tune.
Exactly. And that's a huge thing that I kind of talk about. It's called the big I am. So anything you say after the words I am is what you are. But if you affirm that to yourself all the time, I'm no good with computers. I hear a lot of people saying that. Now they're affirming that themselves all the time. They're saying that to people, I'm no good with computers. Oh, I can't do Zoom. I'm no good with computers. They're saying to themselves, in the brain, the subconscious mind is shutting down. So anytime they try something new on a computer, the subconscious mind says, no point even trying, you're no good with computers. So anything you say after I am. So you can turn that around, and this is what the belief principle kind of talks about as part of the process of turning around. Try a new affirmation. Okay, so I am no good with computers. I am getting better with computers all the time. That's just a simple, slight kind of shift in your thinking, and it changes that affirmation. And it has your brain, your subconscious mind has somewhere to go, somewhere to kind of hook onto, say, okay, how do I get better with computers? And ask the question. Whereas before, it doesn't ask any question, it just shuts down. So you're right, Simon, anything after I am. And if you say I can't, you can't. You just can't do it because you're affirming that to. But we do it unconsciously every single day of our lives as well.
Yeah, but as you said, the power of this understanding is you have choice in there.
Yeah.
Take anything in the I'm not or the I am or the I can't or the I can box, and you can decide where you take them.
Yeah.
I think we worry too much about what other people, so it's not that you feel you can't do it, it's just you worry about what people are going to say or do or think if you try it and you're not good at it. And I think that's what holds us back from trying new things and standing up and being brave about it, you know. So I think that's it too.
Yeah, no, that's totally it as well. And a lot of people, once you recognise that it's not about your ability to do something, it's about your ability to do something and feel maybe the criticism from other people. So you're right, that's part of the kind of the realisation as well in the human kind of mind and the human condition, to be honest. Once you can get over, but you can get over that with a new belief as well. I am brave enough, I am confident, I can do this, or I don't care what anybody else thinks. Not in a kind of bad way, but just to protect yourself. So there's lots of different beliefs within that kind of pattern as well.
Yeah, and I think part of what often holds people back is paranoia. You know, it's what they imagine other people might be thinking. It's not what the other people are actually thinking. It's what they imagine the other people are thinking, and because they kind of reflect back their own thoughts via somebody else back onto themselves. It's almost like they put their own thoughts in somebody else's voice and then project that back. That's the thing that actually stops them from doing it.
Yeah. So we can't read anybody's mind. I've said this when I used to be an alcohol and drugs counsellor as well, because they always used to kind of talk about, they're thinking that of me, they're thinking this, they're saying this behind my back, saying you can't read anybody's mind unless, well, nobody can. If we're kind of being honest, nobody can do it. So it's your thoughts, and it's a mirror of kind of your thought. That's what you're kind of talking about here. Once you become aware of that, then you can start to kind of look in the mirror and talk a little bit differently to yourself as well. It's just subtle, very subtle changes when you do that as well, because people worry. Really, what people worry about is really they worry about something that might happen in the future or might not happen in the future. And they kind of stress about kind of what's happened in the past. Right now is where we should be, and thinking about where we should be and where we want to go, but not worry about it in that way as well. So it's just having a different conversation with yourself in the mirror of your mind. So I don't know if that made sense. It didn't come out right the way I wanted it to.
No. I think I was just going to ask you, in the beginning I forgot to mention that Stephen has an incredible amount of followers across the different social platforms. And I noticed that you're putting out quite a lot of thought-provoking, and you probably always did before, but we are reading them in a different manner now. Is there a huge responsibility around that? Or when you're doing that, do you think about the audience and that there are some people out there that message will be the most powerful thought they have that day, Stephen?
Yes, I think because just to let people know as well, what I started to notice on kind of Facebook and other social media platforms was quotes, beautiful quotes. And I think the quotes have the power to change somebody's thinking. It can almost give you an epiphany. Like I talk in the book about epiphany belief change, it can almost give you that. So I thought, I've never written a book before, how could I do that? And I thought, I'll write my own quotes. It's just wee kind of snippets of something, but can help people. And I've had thousands of comments from people saying, you don't know how much your quotes mean to me. But yes, you have to kind of think about your audience, but at the same time, you have to think about the message that you want to put out. So it's not, you cannot please everybody. And I know that some people are going to think I'm an absolute idiot for what I write, but most people hopefully are going to think it's good quality information to put out there. But I'm not going to please everybody, so there's no point in even thinking I can. So yeah, I write it kind of for myself, but really with the reader in mind and the audience, because on Facebook, it's 75% women between 25 and 54. That's my audience for some reason. So the images that I do is mostly about kind of images of women. They're on the kind of images with a quote, and it's kind of tailored towards that demographic as well.
Really interestingly, we kicked off talking about mental health awareness week. I'm curious to know, from your point of view, which beliefs do you think are most central to people's mental health? What are the issues that they continually come across, or many people come across, that are underpinned by beliefs?
You know, one of the things, Simon, is the belief, and it's the first belief I kind of talk about because I think is extremely important for everybody, and it's the belief that you're not worthy. So a lot of people grow up, for whatever reason, grow up, and this is to do with not just their parents, but to do with their peers or teachers and kind of school. But school is a big thing as well, and they just don't believe they're worthy, and just say, I am not worthy. And we're just not talking about in general, we're talking about kind of everything that they do. I am not worthy. When you can change that belief and turn it into I am worthy in everything that I do, then you start to change your confidence, because they've got different types of beliefs. You've got root belief, you've got trunk belief, branch belief, and leaf beliefs. Your root belief is core to who you are. I am worthy is a root belief. Yeah. If you can install that in your mind, if you can really get to grips with that and really feel it, it's not just about saying it and repeating it, it's about really knowing and feeling it deep down, then you can change loads of other beliefs round about it as well. So it's not just one belief that you change. It changes a trunk belief, a branch belief, and a leaf belief. It changes all of those as well. So for mental health kind of awareness, it's understanding and knowing that you are a worthy individual in anything that you do, your job, your relationships, your kind of social, kind of your friends, your family, everything. When you understand that and you really believe that, your life literally does change after that as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Stephen, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Is that finished?
We always know at the end of these that there is never enough time, because we only ever scratch the top of the iceberg. But thank you very, very much for joining us. Helen, thank you as well. We will see you guys on another episode of Pep Talks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye now.